Okay gang, Private Jack here, and what we're going to talk about is how do we get the new items that have been added to the TF2 game system into Source Filmmaker without having to wait for it to be released in a Source Filmmaker update. And this goes for any time there is a release of a new model packet for Team Fortress 2. Same procedure applies. So basically what you're going to require is GCFScape, and I just found out that the developer of GCFScape has released a new version. It was released on the 18th of October, and the new version is version 1.8.5. So if you're wandering through any of my older videos and I refer to version 1.8.4 while the new version is 1.8.5. So we're going to download the installer for that, and it's available here at nemesis.thewavelength.net, index.php p equals 26. Put that link into my description. So I'm going to grab GCFScape version 1.8.5. I'm going to grab the installer, and I'm going to save that to a place that I know about, and I usually just save it up to my desktop. There we go. So you'll get, depending on the browser that you use, you may get a warning that the publisher couldn't be verified. Don't worry about it. Just click exit on that and be done with it. Okay, that done. I'm going to get out of the web, and I'm going to install GCFScape version 1.8.5. Run. Yep. That was my user account control asking me if I wanted to really install this. I told it yes. Next. Read through his terms of license. It's his cover my butt statement, and I'm going to install that to C program files, which sounds like he may have made a 64-bit version of this. NIMS tools .gcfscape. Okay, yes, next. And I'm going to associate all these files with GCFScape so that all I have to do is click on them, and I want it to create a desktop icon. So hit next. This is what it's going to install. Next, and voila, we're done. You can view the README file, and it basically is the license agreement once again. I'm going to launch GCFScape just to see if it will load up in Windows 8.1, and it looks like everything is running hunky-dory. Okay, so if you watched my last video on how to validate the game cache files, you saw that my 2013 items were still in Source Filmmaker. Well, since then, pardon me, I've gone through and I have deleted those items so that they are not available for this particular video. We're going to install them and make sure that they work. So I'm going to load up Source Filmmaker here, and while we're waiting for that to load up, there we go. Again, there's my little screen bug telling me that I've added a command to Source Filmmaker. I'm going to create a session. No, I don't want to download those things yet from the workshop. And this is the first time my primary viewport has shown up white. Okay, I'm going to load a map. And oh, wow, this is new. Okay, so a whole bunch of stuff is not working in Source Filmmaker for me all of a sudden. this might be an entirely different video all of a sudden. Okay, so what the devil is going on here? Let's try and load that again. Well, it won't load because I've already got it running. Close that down. And we're going to launch Source FilmMaker. There we go, that's better. Create a session. No, I don't want to. So, in order to fix Source FilmMaker, all I had to do was close it down and restart it. Okay, we're going to go into my model viewer, and we're going to type in here 2013. Let my model list catch up to me, and lo and behold, I have no 2013. I have no robotic boogaloo items. MVM. No. TW2. I still have my tank. Okay, I still have those. I should have got rid of that. Whole bunch of errors happening over here. And it just might be because I've deleted some of the materials, but yeah. Okay, hopefully we're going to fix that up in this particular video. So, anyway, what do we need to do? Here we go with the history of Valve and Steam again. So, same explanation as what I put into my how to get rid of the purple and black checkerboards for the MVM stuff in my guide. Valve has gone to a new delivery system. Okay, what used to happen was, back in the old days, Valve delivered a game cache file which contained all the assets for a particular game, and I still have my old game cache files because I kept them for the Valve games that we had on hand. So basically you've got Team Fortress 2 game cache file, there was Bloody Good Time, Counter-Strike Source, yada yada yada. Well, Valve got away from having GCF files and went to a new format called VPK, and they've changed the delivery system all over again. So these new files are located in your Steam app. Go to the common directory, and if you look for the name of the particular game that you want to extract the assets for, now it has to be a Valve game like Alien Swarm, Counter-Strike Source, Dota 2, Portal 2, Left 4 Dead 2, that kind of thing. Okay, if you open up those directories, we're going to pay particular attention to Team Fortress 2 because that's the one that we're actually after here. I'm going to open up the Team Fortress 2 folder, and so now I'm in Program Files, x86 for a 64-bit guys, Steam Apps Common, Team Fortress 2, and I'm going to go to the TF folder in there. And if I scroll down here, I'm going to find a bunch of files with a VPK extension. Now these VPKs are the new game cache files. They're the new GCFs of the 21st century. So basically what you have now is your game cache files are now VPK files. And they're an expanded zip file, more or less. They're an archived bunch of files. Okay, everything is shrunken down so that they come down in small chunks, okay, and with a controlling file that looks after the main, it's the main index for the group of files. The index is a dir file, okay, so this particular file here, TF2 miss dir, controls all the assets that are located in those 11 files. If I want to access anything that's in this archive, I have to open the dir file. Same thing goes for sounds miss. dir is the index down here. TF2 sound voiceovers English dir is the index for these 11 files. And down here at the bottom we've got TF2 textures dir VPK, which is the main index for these 35 files. Okay, that being said, what do we have to do? Now, because I loaded GCFScape and gave it I told it to associate itself to VPK files, all I have to do is double click on one of those VPKs right here and open it. And here we go. These are all the assets contained in that particular archive set for TF2. And in here we're going to find config, class, expressions, maps. And the maps are not the maps themselves, they are the nav and text files for the maps. Materials, models, media, particles, resources, scenes, scripts. We're not going to get into scripts, we don't need these scripts. And servers. And then the VPKs files for, I have no idea what they are anymore. Something new. Anyway, make a long story short, what we want out of this particular group of files is we want to click on root, come over into the second screen, and click on materials. And this materials file folder only contains the VMTs for the various materials. Okay, there are no VTF files in this particular folder whatsoever, and you need both the VMT and the VTF in order for the materials to work. Okay, now that I have everybody confused, what do we need? We're going to click on the root, we're going to come down here, we're going to select materials, we're going to select models, and I'm holding down the control and clicking on the left mouse button. We're going to pick up particles, and we are going to leave the rest alone. Move that up here because as soon as I click on extract, it's going to freeze the screen. I'm going to right click on one of the folders that I've selected, and I'm going to click on extract. Now, before you do this, if you have changed any of the any of the files in the TF2 folder for Source FilmMaker, this is going to overwrite those files that you've changed. So before you do this, you might want to make a backup of any of the materials that you might have changed. You may have gone through and colored out all the robotic boogaloo items and got them so that they're not black anymore, fixed up some textures for materials that were invisible, and put them back into your TF folders. Well, if you've done that, by extracting these files the way that we're doing it right here, you're going to overwrite all those changes, and you're going to have to redo those changes again. End of story. You're warned. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract, and we're going to go to C program files, x86 for us 64-bit guys, Steam, Steam apps, common, source filmmaker, game, and we're going to select the TF folder. And we're going to click OK. That is going to extract 38,024 files. I'm going to put that up here on top of that one. Now the beauty about GCFScape is you can run multiple instances of it, at least you could with version 1.8, 1.8.4, and we're going to find out if we can do the same thing here. I'm going to open up a new instance of GCFScape, and it looks like it's going to do it. I'm going to move that over here. I'm going to File, Open, and I'm going to go down here in Steam, Steam Apps, Common, TF2, TF, and I'm going to find the voiceover pack because there may or sound miscellaneous underscore dir VPK, and I'm going to open that. There may have been some new sounds added, and I want those new sounds as well. So I'm going to click on the root, I'm going to right click on sound, and I'm going to extract that to C, program files, x86 for 64-bit guys, Steam, Steam apps, common, source filmmaker, game, and I'm going to select the TF folder. And I'm going to say OK, and that's going to extract another 1,865 files. Open another session of GCFScape, and I'm going to move that one down here, and I'm going to go File, Open, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, TF2, TF, scroll down, and now I'm going to find the voiceovers because there may have been new voiceovers, especially for if there's any new bosses. And I'm going to click on root, and I'm going to right click on sound, and I'm going to click extract, and I'm going to go to C, program files, x86 for our 64-bit guys, Steam, Steam apps, common, and down to source filmmaker, game, TF, and I'm going to hit OK. That's going to extract another 9,201 files. And one last time, I'm going to open up another version, another instance of GCFScape. Move that one down here. I'm going to go File, Open, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, TF2, Team Fortress 2, TF, and I'm going to scroll down here to Textures underscore dir. I'm going to open that, and this particular folder contains all your VFTs for the materials. So if you extract the one out of the main here, which are just your VMTs, you have to extract the VFTs from the textures folder. So we're going to close that down, go to root, right click on materials, extract, and go once again to C, program files, x86 for our 64-bit guys, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Source FilmMaker, Game, TF, select that folder, TF, and hit OK. And that's going to extract another 11,579 files. So, I'm going to close off this video for now. It's probably about 20 minutes long so far, and come back when these finish extracting. Okay, I wasn't too far off. 20 minutes and 36 seconds have already elapsed, and basically we've got 2 of the processes now finished. The other 2 are wrapping up. This one here's got a ways to go yet. So I'll be back when this is completely finished. I just wanted to show you what it would look like as they finished up. So anyway, another, well, hang on for this one here, maybe. This one here we're not going to wait for. We're going to close down the video, but what will happen is as soon as the files are completed, their extraction, the little box here will close out and just leave the GCFScape open. Just about done here now. And that basically is how you tell whether or not it's done or not. If I try and click on the background of the one that's extracting, it won't allow me to access it. These guys I can close down now. I don't need them anymore. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay guys, looks like the extraction process is finished. I can close off the last instance of GCFScape now, and if everything worked properly, I'm going to close off Source FilmMaker. I really don't have to, but I do it anyway just so that everything is good and fresh. I'm going to close off Source FilmMaker, reopen it, wait for it to finish closing. I should see my... No. Okay, so I'm going to reopen Source FilmMaker now. And if everything worked properly, I'm not going to load a stage or anything. There we go. Create a session. Cancel that. Now, I'm just going to go into my model browser. And I'm going to type in here 2013. And lo and behold, here are all the 2013 items, including the Halloween stuff. Now, if you end up with something that looks like that, what you need to do, I'm going to open a session, or I'm going to open up a map now, just to show you here. Stage will do. This might take a little bit because when I did my last video, I completely downloaded everything again, so it has to reinitialize. Oh, come on, map, load up. And yes, my screen is different than yours because I like the way that I have mine set up. I've got primary and secondary viewports, I've got timelines. If I wanted to, I could pick up my viewport and put it over here. maybe put my element viewer back down here with the timeline. Now I've got both visible. Okay, so open up new model 2013, and where was it? Something leather. Yes, the leather cap. Okay. If you find that a model is invisible in Source Filmmaker, before you go and say, oh no, it's broken, actually load it up into Source Filmmaker. You may find that it actually works. And the reason for this is the way that they've got the materials set up for the actual hat itself. It uses a masking layer over top of the actual materials. And because the masking layer is translucent or an alpha characteristic, it may make it invisible in the model browser. New model. Let's go and have a look at those carriers now. And remember last it was black and purple polka dot or checkerboarded. This actually works now. The parts are all there. There's the TW2 one and the skybox carrier. So by extracting those files from the TF game packet, what we did is we fixed up the materials that were broken in the TF or in the Source Filmmaker packet. Robotic Boogaloo, and of course all mine are going to be, should be all. Okay, so there's the chicken. Again, there's another one of those invisible hats. Bring it into Source Filmmaker, and there it is there. What happens is it has an an alpha layer located on its, come on, on its materials. There. Let's put that in default position. Turn the camera around. There it is. Where to go? Oh, there it is. Hiding under the floor. So there we go. Yeah, so basically we should now have all the models from any of the updates now in Source Filmmaker ready for us to use. Archimedes. The Halloween Archimedes, and of course our black Archimedes because the textures are all screwed up on the Robo Boogaloo items. Anyway, that's the way you get them back into Source Filmmaker. And like I said, if you do this process and you have changed any of your material files, like fixed up the Archimedes and put it back into your TF folder, as soon as you extract this stuff, it's going to overwrite anything that you've changed. What I would suggest that you do is actually back up your folder before you do this, and then after you've done it, go and pull out anything that's different. So with that, I'm going to say you've now got your items, so private jack out. Oh man, I forgot to talk about the maps. Maps, we gotta have maps too. Yeah, jumping jeepers. Okay, so maps. Where do I get my maps? They're not in the GCF files. They're not in the VPK files anymore. Okay, so the TF2 maps are now located in your program files, x86 for us 64-bit guys, Steam apps, common, TF, Team Fortress 2, sorry, TF, maps. What you need to do in order to get your maps, the most up-to-date maps, is actually pick up the BPS files and copy them to your Steam apps, common, source filmmaker. Come on, where are you? Source filmmaker. Hang on, I think I'm in the right. No, I'm in the right folder. Common, source filmmaker. There you are. Source filmmaker. Game. TF. Maps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in here to x86, Steam apps, common, Team Fortress 2, TF maps, and in here you're going to get the MVM maps. You're also going to get the where is it? The High Tower event map. That's the new Halloween map. And basically you're going to pick up all those files and you're going to copy them down to I'll open up a new Explorer so you can actually see the file path. So you're going to pick up those from out of the Team Fortress 2 TF maps, and you're going to copy it into program files, x86 for a 64-bit guy, Steam apps, common, source filmmaker, game, TF maps. All you have to do is highlight them all 68 maps, bring them over, and drop them. Copy here. 62 of the maps already exist. You could go through each of them and say, let me compare, and you'll find that the maps from here may or may not be bigger than the ones that are already in the Source Filmmaker TF package. If you want the ones from the game, you have to copy them all over. So I just go from map and replace them all. And depending on how fast your computer is and how much you've got going on, it'll be done in about a minute. Anyway, that's how you get the maps, and be advised that if you do take the maps from the TF to TF maps folder and put them into Source Filmmaker, that if you don't extract the models and materials from the TF2 game cache files, your maps may not work, because they're not all maps have all the items built into them. For example, the clock tower, the clock face, and the clock hands for the Halloween event. Basically, they were add-ins to an existing map, and the materials exist outside the map. So, anyway, with that said, just going to wait for this to finish copying over. And with that, as Minion says, just about almost, and we are almost almost ready to, in just an itsy bitsy little more time as we wait for the sun to heat up, and almost ready and just about there, so we can now almost fire. Yes, we can fire now. Okay, so with that, I'm going to say private jack out.